Well, guys, what's good? This is Toxical Gaming, and today I'm gonna be going through a guide on how to play Veigar. I have a game I'm gonna show you, and I'm gonna point out where I did good, where I did bad, what I can improve, and I'm gonna be telling you about your items, your counters, and yeah. So first, we're gonna start with your runes. I have the items that as you can see. So I'm gonna go into my rune pages. Sorry, same Sivir. I know this is kind of not traditional nowadays in that everyone always goes electrocute. I've never really understood it, and I like going all old school. So I go Comet, Manifold Band, Transcendence, Gathering Storm. In secondary, I do Footwear and Insight. Uh, this is just the best room page overall with uh, Force, Health. You can change the health to magic resist or armor based off the matchup. But in my opinion, this is the best build on the runes, and there's not really any place where you want to put an alternative. Because wherever you're gonna use electrocute, Comet would still be good. Uh, I'm not really gonna go too into detail on why, but I'm just gonna say that like this is the best way to do it, and this is the build that I take every single game, and it seems to work really well. As long as you have a good play style, then this will work really well for you. Uh, it's a lot of utility, so keep in mind we're not going for a lot of damage with these runes except for Gathering Storm, but we just are going for a lot of utility with the Comet, the Band, Transcendence, the Footwear, Insight. Like it's all just giving us CDR and stuff. For items, we're gonna come into here. So this is like, I'm just gonna scroll through real quick. This is what I'm gonna go through. So when you start the game, always start ring in 2 pots. The reason I wouldn't say start Dark Seal is just because like it. Well, I guess you could, but he's gonna do way better if you start Dorn's ring, and like you're not gonna be getting kills early on, so Dark Seal's not gonna go into effect until at least level 7, let's say. So going Dark Seal first is just gonna give you a little disadvantage at the start. Your optimal first back, so when you back, you want to look to have 1300 golds by Lost Chapter. That's gonna be your best bet. And then for our mythics, if you need like that utility again with like the snare and or the slows instead of just raw damage, I put the wrong item here. What am I doing? I was kind of half awake whenever I was making this. Sorry. Most of the time, like 90% of the time, I go Luden's Tempest. There are matchups where you can go Everfrost, but I just like Luden's Tempest for the damage because my Veigar is just full damage, not as much utility. And I get people are gonna say, but Veigar is not supposed to just build full damage. He's supposed to just have the stuns and be there as like a support. I don't. I agree with that to an extent, but I think that he is way more effective when he's just building full damage. And he takes a while to scale up. That's like the main thing that people will say about this champion. For our core, I go Void Staff and Torque Shoes every game. No matter if I'm ahead, if I'm behind, what mythic I built, Void Staff and Torque Shoes. That's going to give us a good core foundation for our damage. Now, if you're ahead, or even if you're not so far ahead, Horizon Focus is like a good damage item, and Magi Soul Stealer. The reason I say only ahead for Horizon Focus is because you're gonna want to be building a lot more like, I guess, what is the word? Net items, I guess, like where they're saving you, safety nets, and that's what we're gonna get to later. So building this and this of ahead is probably most optimal with the Void Staff. If you just need like utility, I say utility a lot. Cosmic Drive is really good. I don't build this as much because I always find myself needing to build other items. But yeah, Cosmic Drive is an option. I put these in if behind, but really these are just situationals. Like if you need the Banshee's Veil, then build it, and if you're just getting bursted or burst down all the time and you just need to survive, build Hourglass. And sorry about that little sound effect, but these are both good items. My optimal build, I love going Tempest, Void Staff. That's what it's called, right? Yeah, Tempest, Void Staff, Horizon Focus into like an Hourglass, and then Death Cap. Death Cap is your last item. I know that like you probably should be building it earlier on, but you need to build the more utility items and like the more things that will ramp your damage up and give you survivability before you build this, and now arguably make this more effective. Usually by the time I'm building this, that's like when the game is ending, I have like 800 AP and I get boosted to 1200. So yeah, Death Cap is the final item. Okay, I'm gonna talk about his gameplay now. So I'm gonna load up my game here. It's not the best, but it works. So how does he work? Basically, his good matchups, he wants to fight against a mage or just someone who doesn't have good early game impact. He gets hard countered by someone like Yone, Yasuo, Zed, all the usuals, you know, that's kind of how I see it. He's going to get countered by all the usuals, and he basically is just not good early game. And he goes well with champions who need to scale up and who aren't going to gank him because he can't really do much, especially early. But like I said earlier, we're going to start Dorn's Ring in 2 pots. And we're going to start our Q ability. And in terms of ability maxing, we do Q, then W, then E. And of course, because Q is like it's a low damage, but it gives you the stacks, and it can hit 2 targets. W is kind of like an AoE target thing. E is like a stun thing, little cage, and then ult is just, you just do a bunch of damage all at once. So, how do you play? I'm gonna put this in double, actually. Maybe even like 4 times until we get to the main lane. So, we're just sitting by tower. I'm gonna slow it down a little bit. So, you can see, I'm just letting him push into me. If you're playing into like an aggressive matchup, let them push into you. Don't walk up to the wave. And basically last hit and Q the minions. The most important thing, especially early, is that when your Q is up, you're using it to last hit. Don't use it to do damage. Use it to last hit instead of your W, instead of auto attacks. Because that's how you're going to get stacks, and that's how you're going to become strong in late game. Optimally, you're going to want to get 2 minions per stack. 1 is okay. You could see like Eve came in and we didn't quite get the kill. He had to flash though. But I like playing real passive. You can see I'm kind of pushed up a little bit, and I do have some issues with like pushing out. But optimally, you're going to want to like freeze the wave and keep it where you want it. You should realistically, if you don't know where their jungler is and if you don't know where your mid laner is, or if you know like your mid laner's there, you should realistically never be as far up as I am. Like you're gonna see whenever Veigar gets here. Like I knew Lilia was like, she wouldn't kill me if she came in because she's weak early too. You should never be where I was. Like that's how you die. Is you just do what I just did. But you can see I survived. But yeah, so like we're already 3.5 minutes in. I've got, how much CS do I got? 11 CS. Like I wasn't CSing the best this game, but like you saw with the video what I was trying to do. It's always Q and then kill them. And if you really want to push, if like you have a big wave and you want to get some extra Q stuff, W the wave or W the casters and Q them. And if you have any ability power at all, you should basically be able to kill casters. And as safe as I have to play, I'm staying until I can get Lost Chapter. Like, don't worry about him. If you run out of mana, you run out of health, unless it's really serious, I would recommend just like staying by the tower and not backing until that 1300 gold, because you're wasting your time and you're wasting opportunities if you go back too early. But obviously, as you saw, whenever I went back the first time, I had to because I was super low and was in danger. Like right now, if I had no mana, I wouldn't be in danger, so I would just stay. Right? So you're gonna see like it's just a reoccurring thing. I'm just gonna stay. Stay. You can see I'm W'ing the back way of casters. I got all of them with W there, but like realistically you should be queuing everything. And like I said, don't be looking to like really aggressive him. You can maybe look for small trades once you're level 5 or level 6. Level 6 especially, like you can look for bigger trades because your ult does a lot of damage. And don't underestimate the damage of your ult. If it doesn't kill, then you could like trap him, you could Q him, you could do whatever. And you could still like secure a kill more than likely. But what I would say is like if they're below, a little under half health, then that's when you should be ulting. Well, maybe not a little under, maybe like around a quarter or a little above that. That's when you should ult, and that's when you would get a kill off your ult. So you can see I waited until I had a lot of mana. I have Lost Chapter now. That was the second back. And Veigar's on my tower. I believe this is one of my fault points where like I die. You're gonna notice like I'm very aggressive and not with my team. Because the playstyle I play is that like I get one and I die. So it's like a 1-for-1 and it makes it worth, because if you think about it, I'm getting 5 stacks on my passive for every kill, plus however much I get from the abilities. So you can see I kind of died, but it's like that was like the one bad death this game. You could technically call all of the deaths I had in the game a bad death. But I feel like if you get a 1-for-1, it's worth it. So mid and late, realistically, you should be looking to group with your team, and you should just be looking to get assists, because keep in mind it's takedowns that give you your ability power, not just kills. So we're gonna come back here. We're on dragon. Look at how low Veigar is. I'm gonna Q ult, and he dies. The Comet really came in clutch. I think it did like that extra bit of damage that he had left over. So now I'm gonna come in and miss some abilities. I mean, he can be kind of tough whenever you just miss all of your abilities. But you can see like Mundo's probably, I think Mundo kills me here. And this was like a 1-for-1, or actually a 2-for-1. And he doesn't even kill me, see? So even though, yes, you're supposed to be doing damage, like I said, if you are low and you have no mana, sit in the back line and E. That's your job. If you are at risk of dying, sit in the back line and just press the E key. And try and stun someone. Whenever you stun someone, go up to them, WQ, and your W and Q should hit if you weren't too early and you were like actually lining up your stuff instead of just guessing. Like what I just did there. Basically be doing that. And then if you're with your team, then your team can also protect you. But that's what you want to do. Like, I'm very split pushy, and it actually works in this instance. But you want to typically just be like with your team, pressing W and Q, letting them back you up. But like, I know we're only partway through the game, and I've kind of already talked a lot about this, so you can see I just killed Viego. Let's go back. Let's just take a quick look. Look how low he was? Okay, so I'm gonna Q, ult, and he dies. Half health, I Q and ult. Some of you might be calling BS. Look how many stacks I have on passive. We're gonna pause real quick. I'm 3-1. I had 95 stacks on passive or so. Like, it really carries you to use your Q on the wave. Like, if I was a Veigar and I didn't know I need to use Q on the wave, then I probably wouldn't have had much of any stacks. Maybe 30. I might not be 3-1. And Viego probably wouldn't have died on that trade. Because keep in mind, this is like 200 extra damage from your abilities that you're getting off by having 96 stacks. So if you had something like 50 and you were only getting about half of that, that's a big difference in damage. That's like the difference between life and death for some. And that also would mean that like it's harder to CS. Because you, like I say, you want to get ahead in CS early, and you want to play super safe and not fight. Unless you know you can win. So I'm just on the tower, whatever. You can see I'm kind of like threatening. Look how much I just did to Viego. I did half his health. And he's gonna die right here, I think, right? Is this the one where he dies? I think it is. Or no, he didn't quite die. That was kind of a bad death, you can see. I probably shouldn't have been fighting Viego. I probably should have backed off and accepted the fact that I had a meta trade. Alright, so we're gonna follow us again. I like to look for aggressive TPs too. Like whenever I want to get back to lane, because I'm not really a roam heavy mid laner. Veigar is very much so just to sit in lane in CS and not roam so much until mid game, because he can just get more and more ability power and get more and more gold. And it can be argued that splitting would be better for him, but I don't think that's the case. So you can see I got tower. We're killing Viego. Or actually, we're killing Lilia. And then I'm gonna almost die to set before they come in. And you can just see the damage that I'm doing here. Okay, team got dragon. You want to go and help them on dragon if your lane's pushed out. Like, if you ever have a little breathing point where like your wave is kind of pushed in and you don't want it pushed in, maybe roam and look for objectives. That's when I would say. But most times you don't want to be looking for that. Yeah, that was kind of a useless death. Again, as much as we hate to say it, that was kind of a bad death. So we're gonna come to 4 times again. You can see I'm just gonna go back mid lane. We're gonna come back to the start of this little fight here. So you can see how much I did to Lilia. I'm already 2 levels up on the jungler, and I just kill her. So they dropped Herald. I'm just destroying Herald. That's typical. Okay, so Viego's here. He's killing me again almost. But you can see he's like gonna follow me. And I think this was a 1-for-1 or else I got him. I don't remember. Yeah. Well, I got him. I ran away. Now look at this. I'm trying to recall. Nasus appears. He thinks he can kill me. Look how much I just did to him. He was at full health. So then I just ult. He dies. And then this is where I die. So I got like a 2-for-1, right? And I did quite a bit of damage to this guy. So one could argue that was a useless death. I get it, there's a lot of useless deaths in this. But we're getting 5 stacks, we're getting a ton of CS, and a ton of gold. That's kind of the goal of what I'm doing. I don't really care about how many times I die, or what happens. I'm just getting a ton of CS, and I'm killing whoever comes up, and at least getting a 1-for-1, if not more. Like 90% of the time. So I get that this is low elo, but CS differences, 110. I mean, NASA says 120. But like, the CS differences and how we're CSing is going pretty well. So you can see I'm just W in the back wave. I'm queuing. Whenever you have enough ability power, you should be looking to either W the casters or W the fighters. If you W the fighters, then Q them. If you W the casters, then that means that you're attacking the fighters and you should just be queuing the fighters in the end. So we're doing a decent amount of damage to tower. Not so much, but I believe I die here again. Yeah, I'm gonna die here again. But we got a 1-for-1. So it was kind of like, if I go down, you're coming with me type of thing. So we're just gonna pan it on the fight bot lane real quick. By the way, I didn't bring up any like specific counters or anything because it's just like specific groups of champions counter him. Like if they're more on like the mage side, they're gonna go even with him. If they're on the assassin side, then of course they're gonna kill him. Let's go back and let's just watch this Lilia die. Basically, so here's what happens. I zone them. Look at Lilia. She just dies. That's what I like about this champion. Is that he does damage. He does damage fast. Like I said, you're not going to be able to get this with like whatever people consider meta on this champion. It just kind of is Veigar. Okay, so we're going to wait for us to respawn. We are respawning. You can see I went bot lane now, and we're basically just killing them. Like I'm here for backup. Also, I know I'm going back and I'm showing you damage outputs a lot, but like this is to really show you that like this is what you can do with this champion. Look at how much I just did to Lilia. And then, like, I just murdered this Veigar. Like, we just annihilate them. Yeah, look at this. So, like, take this as you will. And I get that, like, I'm a bit different, and I've been kind of bad with how I play. But there should be some good points in here, I hope. Like, the damage output, and looking at how I'm, like, playing the early game, and how I'm CSing and such. That should really help you with, like, the starters to playing this champion. And, like, really... as much as people like to complain about this champion, and like as much as we like to think this champion takes no skill, it takes skill to CS. Like, you're not going to be getting the damage output that I'm getting if you don't CS. And if you don't CS correctly. And so that's what people don't understand. As you can see, we got another 1-for-1. And I get someone can say it's not hard to CS with this champion. It's not hard to CS in general. So stop complaining. Some champions, like, you don't need the CS as much as Veigar. And especially since Veigar is ahead, like, look at the build now. We are ahead, so we built Tempest, then Void Staff, Horizon Focus, Soul Stealer. I don't know how much I got out of Soul Stealer because I just kept dying. But yeah, so now I'm just splitting out. I know I'm strong enough that they need 2 for me, and I know that I deal a lot to towers, and that my team can handle fighting them. So I'm just splitting out. I know like they're either going to survive or that I'm just going to get a lot of damage. Honestly, like their team's not pushing in. So look, they have to come for me because look how much I'm doing to tower. How much I'm doing to inhib. You actually hurt on the inhibs. And then the Mundo was like scared of me. But like look at what I just did to Set. Look what I just did to Mundo. And then he had to ult me. Okay. See, they had to send 3 for me to kill me. That's kind of what we like. And you want to obviously like use your E to keep them off you, but also use your E to get the carries situated for your team. So as much as we like to say you do all the damage, you're actually the one who should be situating the carries and not letting them get away, because your stun does last for a decent amount of time. And you can do a decent amount of damage with it. So as you can see again, easy fight. I tried to flash an E for Mundo, and that secures us Baron. Yeah, that's going to secure us Baron. Almost. So then Veigar's here. Veigar tries to kill me. He just dies. At this point, let's look over here. Veigar, look at the CS difference. Look at the CS difference in anyone compared to me. I'm 21 and 8. You don't, like I say, and this is because I really believe that this is the most important part. Okay, we're gonna go back and look at the ability power. Look over here at this number. We have 1,299 after buying everything. So I'm just gonna go back here. I'm gonna go back a little more. So before the items, we have 852. This is before death cap and before buying the pot. As you can see. After buying it, we got 400 ability power from buying the completing death cap and buying a pot. That's a lot of damage. And like I say, like you don't need, it's not about just having raw ability power as much as I'm making a team with that number. Because I wanted to build up the utility and I wanted to build up everything else before worrying about raw damage. But like if they get hit by anything now, they basically just die. That's how this works. Except for Nasus. Alright. Watch how much I do to tower. Look at this. It's demolishing the tower. And then they surrendered. Let's see. So that was like a guide on how to play Veigar. I'm sorry this video was a little long. I hope you learned something and you're able to pick him up after watching this video. And I hope you liked it. If you like this, then be sure to like and subscribe for more content. Maybe I'll bring a Malzahar guide. I'm not too good with Malzahar, but like I know the basics and I can make a guide on him. And Fizz too. So if you want to see more guides about the champions I play, once again, like and subscribe. Hope you learned something. Hope this was helpful. And I'll see you in the next video. Have a good day. Bye.